In section 3.4, we take a look at what we were just talking about, lines, equation of lines. Right, we kind of flip it on its side. Right, before we wanted to look at y equals mx plus b, create an equation or turn it into into slope-intercept form, take that and apply it to a graph. Right, now we want to do it in reverse, essentially. Right, I want to be given some information, maybe a point, maybe a couple points, maybe a slope and a point. And can I use that information to write the equation of the line? So in this case, if I'm asked to write the equation of the line, I'm immediately thinking, well, I know my answer better look like y equals mx plus b. All right, and in order to write the equation of this line, we are going to need to know what the m is and what the b is. So this question can be asked a few different ways, but in every situation, no matter how it is asked, you need to be thinking, what is my m and what is my b? So, all right, all of these questions are going to start the same way. Write the equation of the line. So, all right, my first example would be with a slope of 2. Y-intercept of 0, -3. This would be the easiest situation possible, little to no work needed, right? Because in this example, I tell you that the slope is 2. That's our m. And I tell you specifically that the y-intercept, instead of y-intercept, let's just call it b. The y-intercept is 0, -3, that's there. Right, but more specifically, this is the b value. B is -3. So if I have these two pieces of information, I can write the equation of the line y equals 2x minus 3, and we're done. Right, obviously, not all the questions are going to be that simple, right? But that's the end goal. If I can find these two pieces of information, sure, I can write the line. Plug in our m, plug in our b. Right, let's make this a little bit more involved then. Right, how would this problem change if I wanted a slope of 2? Right, but instead of knowing what the y-intercept is, the slope of 2 through the point -3, -1. Right, now we still know a slope. Our m value is 2. Right, this is going to be important. We're certainly going to use it. Right, but this point over here, you cannot just say b is -1. This is not the y-intercept. Right, it's not 0, -1. So this right here, key point, not the y-intercept. Right, so I'm giving you less information. Although it still is information, so we should be able to hopefully use it to figure out, right, what our b value is going to be. Right, how we're going to do it, right, is even though it's not a b, it still is two pieces of information. It gives us an x value and a y. Any point, any ordered pair is an x and a y. So although we don't specifically have b, we have an x value, a y value, and an m value. Right, that's where this equation is going to come in handy, because it has x's, y's, m's, and b's in it, and we happen to have 3 of the pieces to the puzzle, just not the b. Right, so we can substitute y equals mx plus b. Right, take the y value, substitute it, -1. Right, m is 2, x is -3, plus b. Now we've created a little equation that gives us the opportunity to find out what b has to be based on these criteria. So -1, this would be -6 plus b. Right, solve for b, so we need to add a +6 to both sides, and our b cancel. This will equal a +5, so here's the other piece of information we need. M is 2, b is 5. So y equals, I write the equation of the line at the end, 2mx. B is 5 plus 5. So y equals 2x plus 5. So anytime we have a slope and a random point, we can use our y equals mx plus b equation, right, to solve for b. All right, let's make it a little bit trickier. Not with, say through. The points. -2, 5, and 1, 3. Right. So in this case, I don't tell you what a slope is, and I don't tell you what the y-intercept is. I just give you two random points that are on my line. Right. This still is enough information to find the equation. We're just going to need to do a little bit of work to find what m is, and then we can play the same game as here and figure out what b is. So let's find m first. Right, hopefully you remember, if I'm given 2 points, how do I find the slope? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x. When I have any 2 points, I can certainly find that slope. All right, remember to be careful with negatives in here. I am subtracting both, so those negatives are always going to be there. y2, y1, x2, and x1. There happens to be a double negative that appears here. That's okay. 3 minus 5 is -2. And these turn positive, so 1 plus 2 is 3. We end up finding a slope of -2/3. All right, not the nicest value for slope I've ever seen. All right, but I wanted to give you one where we end up with a not so nice value to show you how we could work through it. Not a problem. All right, so I'll write that down again. So our m value is -2/3. Let's circle that. In the end, we'll definitely need that to write the equation of the line. And now, right, we need to figure out what b is. Okay, so we found m. Now let's find b. Right, the same exact way we did before. Y equals mx plus b. In this case, we have 2 points that were given to us, -2, 5, and 1, 3. It doesn't matter which point you use. Whichever one you would like to use is fine. I would probably choose the one that doesn't have any negatives in it if I could, or the least amount of negatives, just to avoid maybe a sign mistake. I'm going to choose 1, 3. Right, here's an x and a y value. Right, so I'm going to use, right, so m is -2/3. I already wrote that down. And we're going to use 1, 3 as our x and our y. All right, so that would mean y is 3. M is -2/3. X is 1 plus b. All right, this one actually works out decently. All right, when I multiply by 1, right, remember it's 1 over 1. Multiplying by a fraction, we can just multiply straight across. In this case, nothing spectacular happens. -2 times 1 is -2. 3 times 1 is 3. So right, this value stays the same, but it obviously can change. Okay, and now we have to solve for b, which isn't any different than if this was a whole number. We just have to work with fractions here, so this does cause some stress. But we can work around it. We can save ourselves a little bit of time if we thought of this as a fraction as well and got a common denominator. Okay, so if we have common denominators here between 1 and 3, right, this guy would need to be a 3, so we can take this and multiply by 3 in the top and bottom. So I'm just going to rewrite the equation. We have 9 over 3 is equal to -2 over 3 plus b. and we can solve for b. Let's just say I'm going to, all right, eliminate this negative 2/3. I'm going to add a positive 2/3 to both sides. Looks messy, but still doable. We have b is equal to 9/3 plus 2/3. So this is why it was nice to get a common denominator, adding these two together. 9 plus 2, we have 11/3. There's our b value. All right, now mix the b value and the m value together, and we can write this equation of a line. Let's see, do I have space to do it right here? Okay, I'll fit it right in here. We have y equals, all right, slope, negative 2/3 x plus 11/3. All right, so no matter how nasty of a slope you get, you can still manage this. It's not going to be terrible. Just remember to get common denominators here, and you can combine those terms and figure out what the b value is. All right, so that's how we can find the equation of the line given 3 different scenarios. All right, remember the first one was if I give you the slope and the y-intercept, easy breezy game. All right, just substitute them in. If I just give you a point and a slope, all right, we can substitute them into the slope-intercept form and find b. Or if I'm giving you 2 points, you can use those 2 points to find a slope. Use the slope and a point in the y equals mx plus b equation to ultimately find the b value. So it all boils down to those same games. All right.